How's it going, YouTube? I am back with another video, and this time with my Abyss Actor deck profile. I made Abyss Actor deck profile way before Lynx actually came out, but at the time the deck was good, but then it slowly lost consistency since other decks just took over and just got better. And so for a while I just put it off to the side, but now I just really had the urge to play them again so bad, because this is in my top 2 favourite decks of all time. Always has been ever since I started playing them. I love this deck, I love Sabatari as well, and I just really wanted to build them again. And I was trying them out with the Pendulum Core Magician build that I had before. This was like during Lynx. I haven't made a deck profile on that, but it kept being kind of bricky since Pendulum Core was screwing me over more than getting extra cards to my hand. So I then tried out this build, and this build seems to be a lot better in terms of combos and what you can do with it. It's still not 100%, but it's way better than what it was, and in general is actually a very good contender for an Abyss Actor deck. And I am actually really proud of this build. I've been doing loads of just really cool combos with it. It's a very good OTK deck, since you can blow up your opponent's field and just attack for game. Plus, it's a very hard deck to stop sometimes, since Superstar has a really good effect, and so does Rise of the Abyss King. So without further ado, I'll show you what I run in my Abyss Actors. So to start off is 3 Abyss Actor Superstar. Now Abyss Actor Superstar is really incredible. If you do not run 3 of them, you're completely bonkers, because this card is just nutty. So when Abyss Actor Superstar is normal or special summoned, so if you Pendulum summon it with a bunch of monsters, your opponent cannot activate. Your opponent's spell and trap cards cannot be activated when you normal or special summon this card. So you Pendulum summon it with a bunch of monsters. Your opponent can't stop the Pendulum summon, so it just lets you get that Pendulum summon off. Plus, on the field, the Pendulum effect isn't amazing. When it's in the Pendulum scale, though, you contribute 1 Abyss Actor monster to target 1 Abyss script in your graveyard and add it to your hand. But the monster effect is better, since when it's on the field you can set 1 Abyss script directly from deck, and that's not a hard once per turn, so if you have multiple in field you can activate it multiple times. So Abyss Actor Superstar is you have to run 3. Next is 3 Abyss Actor Wild Hope, since Abyss Actor Wild Hope in the Pendulum scale can target another Abyss Actor in the Pendulum scale and change its scale to 9, but you can only special summon Abyss Actors for the rest of the turn, so you don't really use it for the scale 9 effect anymore. But its monster effect, you can, once per turn, not hard once per turn, you can make this card gain 100 attack for every Abyss Actor on your face-up Abyss Actor in your field. And when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, so even in the Pendulum scale, so if you blow it up with Wavering Eyes or an Abyss script, you can search your deck for an Abyss Actor, except Wild Hope. That one is a hard once per turn. So you have to run 3 since he is your searcher. Next is 3 Abyss Actor Leading Lady. I was running this at 2, but then I found Evil Heal really bricky, so I took Evil Heal out to put a 3rd Leading Lady in. Leading Lady in the Pendulum scale, once per turn when you take battle damage from an opponent's opponent's attacking monster, you can activate one of these 2 effects. That opponent's monster loses attack equal to the damage you took, or add 1 face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand with attack less than or equal to the attack that you took, or damage you took. And then on the field it has a similar effect. Once per turn, when battle damage is inflicted, including your battle damage, so if you attack your opponent, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and it loses attack equal to the battle damage. And then when Leading Lady is destroyed by battle, or by an opponent's card effect, you can set 1 Abyss script directly from the deck. Next is 2 Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser. Curtain Raiser in the Pendulum scale is a once per duel effect, to special summon itself from the Pendulum scale if you control no monsters. This is now being used in Magician Pen, funny enough. But you use him for a different reason, so he gains 1100 if you control no other monsters. Once per turn you can send an Abyss script directly from your deck to the grave, and add 1 face-up Abyss Actor monster from your extra deck to the hand. So, good card. It's his scale that is letting him down, which is why I put him at 2. Next is 2 Abyssact extras. I would either take out Destrudo, which is I put in here for synchro plays, or one of this to put in a third astrograph. I don't have a third astrograph right now, but do run 3 if you have a third. But extras is kind of bad now, since you need to run some extra things other than Abyss Actors to make Abyss Actors a bit better. So, in the scale, Abyssact extras can summon itself if your opponent controls a monster, and then if it's on the field you contribute extras and then set any Abyss Actor Pendulum monster into your scale, which, I don't know why it says Pendulum monster, but there's no other type of Abyss Actors. But you can put one Abyss Actor into your scale, but you can only Pendulum summon Abyss Actors for the turn. So it's kind of bad in that sense, since it stops you from summoning other types of monsters. So that's why it was at 3, but now it's at 2. And now for the final Abyss Actor monsters is 1 Funky Comedian and 1 Trendy Understudy. Trendy Understudy is okay, and so is Funky Comedian, not amazing, so they're both scale 8s, that's the reason you run them, mainly. Funky Comedian I've found using a bit more than Trendy Understudy, since his effect of gaining attack can actually help you a lot. So in the Pendulum scale, you contribute 1 Abyss Actor. Once a turn, you contribute an Abyss Actor to target 1 Abyss Actor monster you control, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the attributed monster until the end of the turn, even if Funky Comedian leaves the field. And on the field, it has a similar effect. When it's normal or special summoned, Funky Comedian gains 300 attack for every face-up Abyss Actor monster in your field, and you contribute Funky Comedian and then target one of your other Abyss Actors, and it gains attack equal to Funky Comedian's attack that it had on the field. And Trendy Understudy, when an Abyss Actor, when you Pendulum summon a monster, not just an Abyss Actor, you can add 1 face-up level 1 or 8 Abyss Actor monster from your extra to your hand, so only target is extras now. You could have targeted Evil Heal, but again I found Evil Heal really bricky. And then if you have 2 other, on the field, if you have 2 Pendulum Abyss Actor, if you have 2 Abyss Actors in your Pendulum zone, you contribute this card, special summon 1 level 1 or 8 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your hand, or face up from your extra deck. So, neither of the effects are great, it's just his scale 8 that's good. You can add extras back to your hand, which can just get you an extra monster really to set scales, but other than that, that's the only reason I run him. Next is the, sorry about that, I forgot I don't run 3, but if you do run a third one, so I'm going to put that there just as if it's a third. But is your astrograph. So astrograph is very well known. In the Pendulum scale you actually use this effect sometimes. You can destroy it and then summon a Stargazer to the field or put it in the Pendulum scale. And if a card is destroyed you can summon it from the hand, and if you do, it will you can target one of the destroyed cards this turn that's face up in the extra deck or banished or in the graveyard, and add one of the same card from your deck to your hand, so it's just an extra +1. Then, the next card I run is 2 Chronograph Sorcerer. So, Chronograph is also really good in the deck now, since it gets that extra Time Gazer from the deck when it's in the Pendulum scale, so it has the same effect as Astrograph in the Pendulum scale to destroy itself, and then instead of Stargazer it will set Time Gazer or summon Time Gazer, whichever one you want to do. And then if a card is destroyed you can summon it from the hand, also special summon another monster from your hand, so that can actually help if you don't have a complete scale and you need those extra monsters. Next I run 2 Stargazer Magician, so that's because you can target it with Astrograph and then summon it. And then also it's a scale 1 for your Time Gazer, since Time Gazer and Stargazer will become scale 4 if it's not another Magician in the scale. So I only really run it because you run the 2 Astro. Next is 2 Time Gazers, since I run the Chronograph and this card just helps. So Time Gazer and Stargazer are a really good combo in the Pendulum scales, and they're also my favourite Pendulum Magicians. So if Stargazer's in the Pendulum scale, when a Pendulum monster battles, your opponent can activate spell effects, and Time Gazer does it with trap effects, so it basically makes them an Ancient Gate Golem. And on the field, they're not useful as such. Time Gazer, each time, the first time your Pendulum cards in your Pendulum zone would be destroyed, by an opponent's card effect it's not destroyed, and then Stargazer is once per turn, when exactly one Pendulum monster you control and no other cards is returned to your hand, you can special summon one monster from your hand with the same name as the returned monster. So you don't really use their monster effects often, but you definitely summon them or set them just for the scales. Next is one Timebreaker, since I really like Timebreaker. He's actually saved me quite a bit. So in the Pendulum scale, each time the first time a Pendulum monster you control would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, it is not destroyed. And its monster effect is, when this card is Pendulum summoned from the hand and no other cards are Pendulum summoned at the same time, you can make this card's attack become double its original attack. Once a turn as well, you can target one monster and banish both this card and that monster from the field until the next standby phase, so it can get over some troublesome cards. Next is one Magical Abductor. Now, if I had a second one of this, I would hands down put that in instead of a second extras, because this card is nutty. So, she is incredible. So each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter on this card after it resolves, and this even works in Pendulum scales. I was worried it wouldn't, so I did some searching up for the rulings and stuff, and it works when you activate Pendulum scale effects, so, and also set Pendulum scales. When this card has 3 spell counters on it, you can remove 3 and add one Pendulum monster from your deck to the hand. This is not once per turn, you just need 3 counters on it, and you can add any Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. This card I've just made insane combos with, with just using this card. The monster effect is the same thing. If it gets spell counters, it will gain 100 attack for each spell counter, and if you remove 3, you can only add 1 level 1 spellcasters, so you always want to put this in the scale. Next is Destrudo. I have him in here for synchro plays, but please put a third Astrograph or a second Magical Abductor. I would go for second Magical Abductor instead of this card, just so you can just continue searching Pendulum scale monsters. But you guys should know what Destrudo does if you've watched my Predator Plant. If you don't, this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can pay half your life points, summon it, target a level 6 or lower monster, and this card's level is reduced by that monster, so you can always make a level 7 synchro. And that is it for the monsters, though. And oh, if you special summon it by this effect, it goes to the bottom of the deck. For spells, 3 Abyss Script Rise of the Abyss King. This is your best Abyss Script. You can target face-up cards on the field up to the number of Abyss Actor monsters on your field with different names, and destroy them. And if you control a level 7 or higher Abyss Actor, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to the activation of this effect. And then all Abyss Scripts have a destruction effect too, but it's by opponent's card effect annoyingly, and it has to have an Abyss Actor face up in the extract to use it. But if this card is face down and destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add 2 Abyss Actors to your hand. Next is one Ceremony, because this card can save your life sometimes. You gain 500 life points for each Abyss Actor monster you control. And if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, and you have a face-up Abyss Actor, you can draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. And the final Abyss Script is one Abyss Tainment. This card, you contribute 1 face-up Abyss Actor in your field, and set one of your Abyss Scripts from your grave. And then if this card is set and destroyed, you can activate that twice per turn. If this card though is set and destroyed, you can summon any number of Abyss Actors from your deck. So this card can really screw your opponent if they actually blow it up. Next is 3 Wavering Eyes, since this card is absolutely nutty in this deck. So it blows up all the scales in the field. If it's 1 or more, your opponent takes 500. If it's 2 or more, you get add a Pendulum monster to your hand. 3 or more, you can banish a card on the field. And 4, you can add a Wavering Eyes from your hand. You can do all of that if you blow them up. But this card, if you have Astrograph Wild Hope in hand, you can just go absolutely ham with this card. Now for draw cards is 2 Pot Desires. Since you don't mind banishing your stuff, you just need those pluses in this deck to make those boards. 2 Allure of Darkness, since you only run 1 non-dark monster, which is Magical Abductor. 1 Ignite Reload, since you only run 1 non-Pendulum monster, which is Destrudo. And 1 Upstart Goblin, since I like Upstart. Now that's the 40 card deck, and that is definitely one of the best builds I've made for Abyss Actors. It can go off pretty well. For the extra deck, I have left room in the extra deck for you to add whatever you want. But I run 1 Starving Venom, since this card can actually, well, you can target your Abyss Actor Superstar and then make it another Abyss Actor Superstar. to like get more abyss scripts and stuff. Plus, its piercing effect is also great. Then, because I run Destrudo, I'm able to do the synchro plays, so I run one Nirvana, since Nirvana is quite easy to summon. If you have Destrudo and a way to Pendulum summon a level 3, you can make this card, since this card could be synchro summoned using a level 3 Pendulum summoned Pendulum monster as a tuner monster, even if it's not one. And if this card is synchro summoned using a Pendulum summoned tuner monster, you can target one card in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, and you can half your opponent's life points. And then if this card is destroyed, you can place this card in the Pendulum scale, and if it's in the Pendulum scale, if a monster you control attacks for a battle, it cannot be destroyed by battle, also you take no damage from the attack, and at the end of the damage step, if you're a Pendulum monster attacked, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to the attacking monster's attack. So, I just really like Nirvana. It's the only reason I run Destrudo, because I just really like this card. And I run Black Rose and Arcanite for the level 7s to make it. I usually go into Arcanite to blow up 2 cards, and then go into Nirvana. And the rest are Xyz and Link. So there's 2 Link monsters. If you have Heavy Metal Foe Electrum, run it for God's sakes, because you can just go off with that card. I can't afford that, so I don't run it. But if you do have it, do run it. Next is the Xyz. So run Red Eyes, since you can make rank 7s. So I haven't really made Red Eyes yet. You just mainly go for OTKs in the deck. Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. I don't run Prime, don't really care for it since it wouldn't live long enough. One Supreme King Dark Rebellion, since it's easy to summon this deck, plus you can OTK easily with this card. If you don't know what Supreme King Dark Rebellion does, is it requires 2 level 4 Dark Pendulums, and when it attacks, you can attach an Xyz material. This card gains attack equal to the opponent's attack, and also makes that opponent's monster 0. And also I should explain what Red Eyes does, since Red Eyes, 2 level 7s, can't be destroyed by card effects when it has an Xyz material, and you can't use its detach effect, but it does 500 damage for every card effect activated, so it's just a burn card. I also run Dark Rebellion to attach your Xyz materials to get over a troublesome monster, 1 Baguska for turn 1, since it's incredible in defense mode, 1 Decode, and 1 Sephra Metaltron. So run 2 Electromite in if you have it, because it's just so much better. But if you don't, you can run these. You don't really need Link monsters for this deck. You can make boards without it, but Electromite will extend your combos way more. So that has been my Abyss Actor deck profile. I love this deck so much. Do put the card choices I said in, because it does make the deck better. If you did like the video, please stick around if you want to see more. I upload weekly. Hopefully I can get a dual video for next week. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the profile, and I'll see you guys in the next one.